here. Thank you for hanging out. I brought a friend today. I brought Adam Bernard with me for the main reason. A, we're going to talk about hockey, of course. But B, I might be able to officially complete Puckdoku. Adam, if you're willing to help me, I think I could get this done.
I hopefully I can lend a helping hand here. I used to play more than I do now. Maybe 10 years ago, I probably would have gotten it solved 6 out of 7 days a week now. Well, a little less, but hopefully I can give you a couple of hockey assists.
I need some serious help because I had like a moment where I was really close, absolute just chaos with being unable, and now I have regressed. I have basically turned into the Seattle Kraken, who had like that 1 year where it went really well and then they kind of tipped off here. Fun fact, the Seattle Kraken are playing today. Today is Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon. Shout out to the NHL for just absolutely scheduling games on a perfect Tuesday afternoon for all of us. We couldn't wait for that. So Adam's going to help it here. We're going to go through some quick notes. Then Adam's going to solve Puckdoku with me. We're going to do 3 hot takes, and we're going to break down the FSGH draft. I was part of it. Adam did one as well. So we're going to rate our teams. I think I did fantastic. I saw Adam's team as well. It looks pretty good. I feel like we did a lot of drafts on Total Hockey Now, which of course everybody listens to. So I feel like I was well prepared for that, especially with a bunch of dudes who are just super smart at hockey.
Yeah, we talked about that league. There's no easy weeks in that league. There's no easy waiver or blind bid periods. Like there's none like everybody's on it in those leagues. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with my team. There might have been one spot in the draft where maybe in hindsight I go a little different, but we'll get into that later.
I won't spoil it, but you did draft defensemen a little bit earlier than waiting for the end.
Yes, I've learned if nothing else, you're supposed to learn your lessons. When you practice something, you're supposed to get better at it. And I think I got better at it in that regard. So
good. If those of you who are new here, my name is Christopher. Thank you to the YouTube algorithm for pulling yourself in. Follow me on Twitter at FuzzyChris91. You can follow the podcast on Twitter at Slapshot Podcast. If you go over to Slapshot Podcast on Twitter, you hit the little link tree. You can follow the podcast everywhere. I also do Adam Total Hockey Now, which you can follow at Total Hockey Now. Right? Anthony Rivera is not here. He is crying watching the Mets. We'll see how he feels. But so far, there was a peak wait because when we finished the show last week, it was not going well for the Mets. And then it turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, that was an interesting exchange afterwards where he was ready, just like most of the fan base, to just throw the polar bear, Pete Alonso, to the Wolves. And then all of a sudden, here they are in the NLDS against the Philadelphia Phillies. First of all, I should also say thanks for having me. And there won't be a Total Hockey Now this week, partially due to the Mets playoff schedule and Anthony's responsibilities over at Subway to Shea podcast over there. Partially because I'm taking the last 2 days of the week off to go to Aftershock, the annual Northern California Heavy Metal Festival. So I'll be at that. So that kind of condenses the week. So happy to be here with Chris and get my Jones of talking hockey in.
There we go. Let's go over some quick news here. We're just going to bang through these because these are the things you may have missed. Jordan Eberle was named captain of the Seattle Kraken. So good news. Every team has a captain, as it should be. Good for them. Speaking of captains, Clayton Keller, captain of the Utah hockey team. I'm a big fan of Clayton Keller. Good for you. Utah doesn't have a logo or a team name, but they do have a captain. So, that's pretty good. Also, Jack Campbell has entered the NHLPA Players Assistance Program. He is now in Detroit. Hope he gets the help that he needs, of course. Those are quick ones. Here's the one I want to talk to you specifically about, Adam, and this is the Igor Shesterkin news. So, Kevin Weeks' forehead basically broke the news that Shesterkin has apparently rejected a 8-year, $88 million. And I will never know what it's like to turn away $88 million. But as a Rangers fan, so Adam is a Rangers fan. We still had him here, right? I obviously have fans. We know, we can coexist. It is what it is. So tell me how you feel about Igor Shesterkin turning down generational wealth.
Well, I mean, I know we're each bringing 3 hot takes to the table today, but I'm going to put one out early as an appetizer and save the other 2 for later. I think this is his last season as a Ranger. I mean, the fact that he denied this offer like a easy blocker save, like, nope, 11 million is not going to cut it, which would have made him the highest paid goalie ever. Which tells me he's looking for 12 plus. Now, it's the cap's at 88 this year. Let's say it goes up to like 90, 92 next year, something like that, trying to be reasonable. That's 13% of your cap in one guy. Now, they've got Lafreniere, who's an RFA, Kako, who knows? I mean, they'll get him at a value maybe, or they'll just trade him. On the blue line, Keandre Miller, Zach Jones. You also have Ryan Lindgren as a UFA. So I don't know how you can tie up 12 plus million in Shesterkin and still put a reasonable team in front of him. And all I keep hearing is this is the Rangers' last hurrah, like this year, because of the cap situation they have. Currently $790,000 in the hole that they need to get to before they take the ice opening night. I think maybe they just they put all their chips in and then they'll figure out what's going to happen in the offseason. Panarin's a free agent after next year. So, I mean, you lock this guy up. They made a reasonable offer, and I don't know. I mean, maybe they just feel like they have to get it done, and they'll take like the Toronto or the Edmonton approach, where it's like you just have a couple of really high-paid guys and we'll figure out the rest. But I don't know. If he knee-jerked away, rejected that 11 million, that is not a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, he did turn that $88 million away like it was nothing. Kind of like he was just like kind of like taking a flyer. He's like, no thanks, it's good. I don't know, to your points, I don't know how the Rangers are going to find money to pay him what arguably he deserves, right? Again, I have no problem with players going to get their bags, especially goalies. The Rangers don't have a solution if they do just let him walk, right? It's not Jonathan Quick, and the system doesn't have anything. So they would have to replace him, and yes, at a cheaper cost. I am interested to see how this plays out for him, because this could be the one last run, like you say. This is the band. Let's see if we can do it. If not, then there may be some major changes coming. I just don't know how they fit all those players under the cap and still be competitive. And even if they did want to go down, let's say, the Edmonton route, last time I checked, Edmonton hasn't won a Stanley Cup, so that path doesn't seem to be working right now. But yeah, that seems tough. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Let me add 2 things to that. Now, I say this is his last year Ranger. Now, if they find a way to get rid of Jacob Trouba and you free up that cap space with $8 million, yeah, you still got other people to sign, but at least you can say, okay, we can take X amount of that and put it towards Shesterkin, who's making just under 6 right now. He's making like 5.5, something like that. So you can take it and at least put that, and that gets you most of the way there. But the other thing too is I mentioned how Toronto and Edmonton, they have a couple of really high priced players and then they fill the holes in around it. If you do that with 2 skaters and you lose McDavid, you still have Draisaitl to put the puck in the net and vice versa. You do that with a goalie and you lose your goalie, you automatically are going to have a cheap backup to accommodate the fact that you have 13% of your cap tied up in one player at one position that usually carries 2. So, it's not that I want to see this happen. It's not like, so long, Igor, get out of here. I just don't see how you have a contract that makes him happy, but still allows you to build a competitive team where you're not this just wild card team or 3rd seed in the Metro that gets bounced in the 1st or 2nd round every year.
That's fair. That'll be interesting to see how Igor Shesterkin's contract plays out. The good news is we have all year to talk about it, so we can worry about Igor's numbers and what he ends up with. Good news, though, the span of goalies. Jeremy Swayman signed his extension. He didn't get $88 million, but he got $66 million, ending that whole thing that was going on with him. Good for Swayman to get his money. There were some talks that he may start against Florida, which I think would be interesting. He did apparently work out with Boston College, so he is apparently in shape. But I don't think he starts. I think this is Jonas Korpisalo's game. Give it to him. He has been there at camp, and Jeremy Swayman will be ready to go game 2. But if you got Jeremy Swayman at a discount in your fantasy hockey drafts, you are very, very happy that he has put pen to paper.
And I know you took Cam Neely to task as he deserved, but kudos to him that make sure that, okay, we did get it in before this was a story on opening night where, hey, there's this guy on our opening night program that's nowhere to be found. So at least they were able to dodge that bullet. I agree. Corpusalo starts opening night, and then when Swayman's ready to go, he goes.
So that's what we have missed from the last time we are here. So like I said, we'll figure out what Shesterkin's going to happen. Good for Jeremy Swayman. Best of luck to Jack Campbell, Clayton Keller, Jordan Eberle, brand new captains in the NHL. All right. This is what everybody wants. This is where I usually fail. But this time I have brought, like I said, I brought some help. And it's because I just can't do it by myself. You know what I mean? Can't do it by myself.
All right.
If you're brand new here, you've never seen what Puckdoku is, this is the death of me. We will try to find a player that matches the box. Think of it as Sudoku, but with hockey players. Thank God there are no tough categories. I think we could get this done. Now, I'm not going to cheat, and you being here, Adam, isn't cheating. This is just, two heads are better than one here. So I feel like there's some possibilities here that good things can happen. So we got to find some Boston players. We got to find some Winnipeg players. We got to find some New Jersey players and Detroit, Pittsburgh. And then we got the 100+ goal scorers. I feel like that's going to be the easier one here. I'll start off with the Boston Bruins here with the 100 goal scorers. It's going to be Patrice Bergeron for me. There's no way.
Nice and easy.
Nice and easy.
Can't use him anywhere else.
I wasn't going to pass on Patrice Bergeron. Get my little Quebecois kind of fill in here. We'll do this one for Ant here. I feel like the New Jersey Devils. There's so many different ways you can go, but I feel like to torment Montreal Canadian fans, Scott Gomez would definitely be the name.
And I like that that's a good 4% score right there. We like that lower number. Now, I think for the 100+ goal for the Winnipeg Jets, you could throw Ilya Kovalchuk in there from his Thrasher days.
Ilya Kovalchuk. There we go.
Dang. All right, so we got tic-tac-toe already.
This is a great start. This is usually where it falls apart. This is where we need the meat and potatoes. So for the Pittsburgh Penguins and the Boston Bruins here, I know some of you are going to forget that he exists, but I mean, Jaromir Jagr is still playing hockey somewhere on the face of the earth.
He's also a cheat code for the two team. He played for both of these teams because he's got a little less than half the league under his belt.
Right. I mean, the next answer I would have gone with is my favorite, who keeps coming back, which is Derek Brassard. I feel like he's played everywhere, and he's always an absolute cheap one to get in there. So that is there. This is where I need help now, because those four I looked at and I was like, I feel like that could make sense.
All right. I got one for Winnipeg, Pittsburgh, because again, it's Atlanta, right? Colby Armstrong.
Oh my God. That's a great one.
Arm Dog making an appearance.
I'm going to get it.
You will. There we go.
There we go. Hey, and an 11. There we go. Colby Armstrong. I would have never gotten that one.
Devils, they want you to do Ryan Graves because that's the easy one. But if you try, you got to try and think of somebody else, and you can always go back to that.
Did Paul Martin play for both?
How about Jonas Hedberg?
Jonas Hedberg.
Oh, Johan Hedberg. There we go.
That is. And a 2% as well. Okay. Now we're cooking. We're cooking.
Right. Let's clean up the Devils here. We'll go tic-tac-toe again. Brian Rafalski.
Oh, my God. I had none of these names in my head. That is fantastic. Brian Rafalski, true. Absolute stud.
Great American defenseman. As reliable as you could put out there. And if he made a mistake, it was like, Brian made a mistake. Let's see. So you got Winnipeg, Detroit here. Or Boston, Detroit. You got any ideas?
Oh, Winnipeg. I guess it would count since we're thinking about the Atlanta Thrashers.
Chelios?
I was Chris Chelios. There you go. See, you got me on the Atlanta Thrashers. They should just put the Thrashers there. I feel like that would have been good. There we go. Okay.
Oh, All right, one more to go as he slowly comes across the screen. So we're going to do this. Now, you used Yager. Yager he didn't play with the Red Wings, right? That was one team.
Play with the Red Wings.
So they didn't lose him there. What about?
I know. Sometimes it's not necessarily like. Sometimes I try to think of players that have gone back to those teams, but it's like it's not how it is. They just have to have played one game in that jersey.
What about Tyler Bertuzzi?
Of course, that clears the board here. Oh my god!
There we go. We got a modern guy up there.
Oh my god! Is this? Hold on. It's been a long time coming. I don't know if I should be disappointed in myself on how terrible I was, or like the fact like how much you have improved. That's like getting somebody into the lineup and it's just immediate success here. Tyler Bertuzzi is there. We did it.
We did it. Unique 107. Not too bad.
Doesn't matter. Hey, all we need is to get it done. That is it. We have accomplished the impossible. You're a 1 for 1 on the Slapshot Podcast Puckdoku challenge.
Happy to come back and help anytime. Love playing Puckdoku.
Those are pretty good. Look at some of these names. Brad Marchand, Mark Scheifele would have been an easy one. Yes. Oh my God. Patrick Elias. Yes. Brandon Shanahan.
Hossa.
Another Thrasher. Of course. They're all basically Thrasher players there.
Shanny's a good one. Yeah. Elias. That's, one of the top scorers in Devils history.
That was
the top scorer.
That was really, yes, that was really good. So well done to us. This was a team effort. Fantastic. Except this segment was a lot shorter than it usually is. That's
fine.
That's good. That's good. That is really good. Okay, let me pull up here. So we did FSGH. This was probably a draft that I was really looking for just because of how competitive it is.
It's also the last draft of the season as well for leagues. I mean, I didn't have any today. That was my last one on the calendar.
I think I got one more, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, I am definitely excited about how your draft went. Specifically here.
The one thing I will say is I wish I had came away with one more wing because of the format with the 3 wings, and they do go. When you combine right wing and left wing, it's funny. Like it's like deep for a while, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's all that's left. Like you get deceived a little bit on like how much is there. So yeah, I'm representing Better Sports Network, picking 10th out of 12th in the snake. Brady Tkachuk goes at 7th. He's the guy I'm usually considering. He's gone. Cale Makar went at 8, which is, exactly where. So like those are the guys I'm considering. I would have taken Rantanen had Miller gone, but JT Miller sitting there across the board fills all the categories. And this is points based with an emphasis on goals and goalie wins more than anything. So I'll take Miller there, and I get Bouchard on the way back because I know it's going to be a while before I get a defenseman. As you can see, I'm glad I did that because all the way through Dougie Hamilton go off the board till it gets back to me. Still nab Vasilevsky, so I have my core and also JT Miller center and wing eligible, so that helps with this league. You have to have as many center wing guys as reasonably possible because that will help on game nights. And then Braden.
I love in this draft though, Jeremy Swayman, first goalie off the board.
And he is a Bruins fan, Rob Tuesday. Shout out Y2Z. He's a big Bruin fan, and and even though this happened, I think after the contract was done, he was gonna. What was he gonna miss? Maybe a handful of games that he would have normally played. So like, he didn't hurt my draft stock at all.
Good stuff. Then, like you said, Evan Bouchard, great. Vasilevsky is great. Braden Point. Sometimes he gets dropped a little bit there, but I mean, somebody still has to center Tampa Bay's top line, right?
He's got a center. Now I was considering Gensel there, and maybe that's a point where I could have gotten that extra wing. But I mean, Braden Point at 4.3. Yeah, he doesn't get the hits, but I mean everything else he's going to run, and he's reliable. So yeah, Braden Point there. Maybe that's where I could have gone Gensel and maybe gotten a little deeper at the wing. But hey, I still think I did okay. Then Mikhail Sergachev, which when I was talking to Chris Wassel, who did our other draft with us, he's drafting in the rotoballer slot there. He told me, he's like, if I didn't take Sergachev, he was going to take him. So that made me feel good that I got my second defenseman there, and I think he's going to have a real nice year with Utah.
Very, very good pick. Obviously, to me, the part that stands here is the next 4 picks for you, the wingers. Timo Meyer, a guy hoping to bounce back here. A little bit of bang, a little bit of boom. Cole Caulfield, obviously very nice. Well done. Good. I see you got caught in the goalie run, but you made sure to get one. You've been taking a lot of Darcy Kemper.
He is pretty much my goalie too in almost every league. I just totally listen. I know he's not the best goalie in the world, but I think when you play, and no doubt he hurts this theory a little bit. But the Kings are a defensive-minded team, even the forwards back check. So I think he's going to go into a situation where he's going to put up better numbers because of the team in front of him and the way they play. I'm a big believer in that. So, and yes, you're right. I did get caught up in that goalie wave. I was sitting there at that pick thinking, do I take maybe, like a Brock Faber here, get my third defenseman? I'm like, you know what? I don't want to wait all this time and then lose if I don't get Kemper, I may not get anybody reasonable. And as you can see, that was the right decision.
They did. Alexis Lafreniere, great. If only he could see some power play time, that would be swell. Then we move over here.
Maybe he gets it this year a little more. Maybe he gets a little more. There's a little more trust. We'll see what happens.
I would love if he could get that power play time, because I also have some shares in him, and just hoping. You know what I mean? Just hoping.
Yeah.
Then Zach Werenski is another great pick. I have a little bit of Zach Werenski. He's going so late in drafts. If he could just stay healthy, that would be swell.
And that's the thing. Like, that made me feel good about taking the goalie there because A, the run continues. So it's like, all right, I'm glad I did it. B, for D3, Zach Werenski, sure. Now, at this point, I want, I liked, there was still like centers out there, but like not too many I was interested in. So I knew I could move Miller to the wing and bump one of those other guys down. So I grabbed Scheifele there, who was, going late in draft, but he's still the top center in Winnipeg. He's still going to provide what he provides. I want Celebrini. I made no secrets about that on Total Hockey Now. And then Buchnevich center wing eligibility, so that helps with that pick right there. He's going to center the top power play in St. Louis. He's the second line center there. Then Dylan Strom's going to be playing next to Ovechkin. So if Ovi's going to be fed the puck a lot, who's going to be feeding him the puck? His center. So at that point, I said, let me just take him. It's like a best player available kind of thing.
Yes, that's a solid down the middle. Buchnevich is he's listed as a center. He's supposed to play more center this year. He still has winger eligibility in a lot of places. So again, the roster flexibility is good. And then you finish it out here with Justin Falk, Neil Pionk, David Rittich, good handcuffing on the goalie. A lot of people do that. And if you're going to run 2 goalies, you might as well get a handcuff and take a third. That way you never have to worry about the injury situation in LA or who you got to start on that night. You just got to figure out who's manning the crease, plug them into your lineup.
I will say in the FSGA league, it is very important to have handcuffs. Usually I'll get the handcuff for both goalies, but let's face it, in Tampa, Vasilevsky is just going to be a workhorse. And as much as I believe in Kemper, if there is a situation where the backup is going to play a little bit more, it's in LA with Riddick. So that's why I used that spot there. I made sure I did that. But yeah, Justin Falk, he's going to play the power play. He's going to run the power play with Torrey Krug hurt. So, I've been trying to get him as a late defenseman in most drafts.
So yes, this was a well done, Adam. This is a fantastic team. I would give it an 8 out of 10. There's not enough Montreal Canadiens players on this team. So, but that's not your fault. You know what I mean? It's nothing you did. It's just.
I will say where I took Scheifele, Slafkovsky went 2 picks before that. That was my pick if he was still there.
I did see that, so I didn't specifically blame you, but I knew that it could have been better. But it's okay. We did well. I will show you my disaster. Actually, it's not too bad. I felt like it went pretty well here. So I started the draft off in the 5 hole of the 12 league. I went with Cale Makar. Now, I've made no secrets how much I want and love Cale Makar. And 5 was a little bit of a reach, but I knew he wasn't coming back. And I figured, like, it's now or never. And I felt like I could get some good forwards later on in my draft. And then Rasmus Dahlin was there when I was coming back. And I was like, well, defenseman is certainly a way to start your draft. But I was like, hey, if you play 2 defensemen and I got 2 of the best ones, so be it. I'll go there. Jack Eichel was around. I mean, if he stays healthy, Vegas is going to go out there. Jake Gensel, 95 plus point opportunity there. So I loved it. Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson was going, I thought he would go earlier in this draft. I got about the 53rd pick. Center eligibility, winger eligibility, throws his weight. I mean, the Buffalo Sabres are still the Buffalo Sabres, but I mean, somebody's going to have to.
He's still the straw that stirs the drink offensively for them.
He is. He's going to get his points. He's going to get his power play points. He's going to, he's going to do everything. Then I knew I needed to start taking goalies because now all those 3 picks before, I was eyeing a goalie. Somebody took him, and I said, I'm not going to reach here. I'm going to get somebody. So I took a page out of your book. I went Joseph Wall first, and then Darcy Kemper. Darcy Kemper a little bit early, but I figured if I can get those 2 goalies, and I get that they're made out of like paper mache here. I get like they're, it's a glass house right now. But if they stay healthy, good things will happen. Zach Werenski, like I said, I went out a little bit more here. I figured I could get him. My 3 defensemen are Cale Makar, Rasmus Dahlin, and Zach Werenski. There's some offensive pop there. Whatever I lacked finding up front, I found here. Matt Boldy, because I couldn't get Kirill Kaprizov, because he was literally the next pick, basically. Or I think he went 12th. Nico Hischier, I don't know why he keeps falling, but I'll take him. Like, sure, great. Brandon Hagel, I needed some hits. The upside for Hagel is there. I just need him to stay on that top power play unit. And Tampa Bay has thought about going with a 2 defenseman approach. I would like them to not for obvious reasons. So I went Brandon Hagel there. Dylan Gunther, I mean, I guess if Utah's going to be better, then he is going to be a big part of that as well. But that's a young team that, something can happen there. So I figured it was worth too. He did. And you don't pay players to sit. You pay them to do stuff. So Dylan Gunther was either there. Jake Wallman was kind of sitting there. And like, it's San Jose. I get it. But somebody's got to be on that top power play unit and somebody's got to play. And right now, that's Jake Wallman. And he doesn't have much competition behind him. So originally, I'm looking for him to like hit and block shots. And if he can get like 35 points, like that would be swell.
And the other thing with Wallman, too, is they went out and got him from Detroit. So they targeted him as like, okay, you're going to be running. Maybe it's just for the season, but you are going to be our power play guy.
He can do what he is. And then I needed a rookie. Mitchkov was there. He's had a great preseason. I just need that to continue. I just need him to be in Tortorella's good books. That'd be great. And then I tried to find, kind of fill out the rest of my lineup here. So Tom Wilson was standing around. I hate Tom Wilson, but I understand what he brings. So if he's playing in the top 6, fantastic. I am happy. And as long as he doesn't get suspended, that'll be great. So Tom Wilson there. Macklin Celebrini, I mean, he was sitting here. And I mean, I don't know how I feel about 2 rookies, but if those 2 players are the ones chasing the Calder, then I feel like they're having good seasons. So low risk, ton of upside. I'll take it. And then I closed out with a goalie. Logan Thompson was still sitting there. So I was like, you know what? I might as well take a goalie. I could have gone David Rittich here. He's still on the wire. So I was like, hey, if something doesn't work out or I don't know, somebody gets hurt, we have an IR spot. I wasn't worried about David Rittich. I was more worried about Logan Thompson not being there than David Rittich. So I went with Thompson instead.
And even if Lindgren is the official starter, it's going to be like a 55-45 split, 60-40 kind of split. So, he'll get some starts out of Thompson.
So this was the team I put together. To be honest, I feel confident in it. I gave myself a 12 out of 10 just because in the league that I was in, that was just wild that they were willing to give me that kind of those type of players somewhere. But yes, I'm excited to see how this team does. I will share an update at the end of the year if it is good. If it is not, then you have just not heard from me. Then you know what happened. You know that it didn't go well. So that was our FSGH drafts here. Fun here. We said some 3 hot takes. You already gave us one with Igor Shesterkin not signing. I'll give you another one. It's probably not hot here. Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's goal scoring record this year. I know it's not it's possible. It's possible. I just need him to stay healthy. The second one here might ruffle some feathers. Colorado misses the playoffs. The more I think about them, the less I like them. And the more I think about the players that they're missing and the depth that they don't have, it irks me, especially with Alexander Gorgiev being there. I just don't enjoy it.
I'm going to give you a sub hot take related to the Avalanche. Justice and Noonan will be the starter before the season's over.
Okay. That is definitely a way to live life. No, I just don't like the way Colorado is set up right now. It's not what I'm enjoying. Not loving it. That's for sure. You had some pretty good ones here. You also had a team missing the playoffs.
So the team missing the playoffs is not a surprise, but maybe finishing last in the Atlantic Division is the Detroit Red Wings. And, obviously it's not going to be the Leafs, the Bruins, the Panthers, the Lightning. We think Buffalo's going to be a little better this year. Montreal won't be a playoff team, but they'll still be fun to watch. So now it comes down to Ottawa or Detroit for finishing last. They do make the coaching change there. They do add Linus Ullmark in net, which whatever. He's going to see a lot more than he's used to in Boston, but he's a massive upgrade over the Korpisalo, Anton Forsberg duo they trotted out most nights. So, the upgrade in goaltending, they do have some good pieces up front, whereas Detroit, they're really one line. Patrick Kane's going to get hurt at some point. Vladimir Tarasenko's showing his age. They have one top pairing, and then after that, it gets thin. I know they have guys that play well, but, the goaltending situation with Talbot and Alex Lyon and Ville Husso, I don't know. I could see this being a really bad year for the Wings.
No, that's a mess. I could not agree more with you. The Red Wings just look like an absolute just pile of turds. And then I don't know how hot this one is, but Connor Bedard over 100 points this year. I think the Chicago Blackhawks have done enough-ish to surround him. There's living bodies that are there if they stay healthy. Chicago is still a terrible team, so they're going to have to play a lot of catch-up hockey. If Bedard doesn't get hurt, sky's the limit here. He's a great passer. He can shoot, but he can also pass. And if the guys around him can finish, I think it's possible. 82 games. If he's on an 82, if he gets 82 points in 82 games, point per game, nobody's surprised. I think he can get the other 18, though.
I agree. I think he can hit 100 points this year. The offense is going to run through him just like it did last year, but now he's actually got some talent around him that can help finish and maybe take a little bit of attention away from him or just a tiny bit of pressure off. So, yeah, I think sky's the limit for Bedard this year.
We'll see. I expect it to go well for him, but those are my three hot takes here. Connor Bedard over 100 points. Colorado misses the playoffs. Ovechkin breaks Gretzky's record. Adam, you had the Red Wings finishing last in the Atlantic. Utah makes the playoffs, and the one that we started off the show with Igor Shesterkin not re-signing with the Rangers.
I think Utah makes the playoffs because you look at the West, look at the 8 teams last year, right? Nashville, Colorado, Dallas, Edmonton, Vancouver, Vegas, Winnipeg. One of those teams is not in Los Angeles. One of those teams is not going to, usually you're not going to have the same 8. One of those teams has to miss. I think you looked at the Coyotes last year, whereas they were playing wild card level hockey into January. Then they got the news before everybody else that they were moving. They go on that horrendous losing streak. And then, and now they got an owner and a franchise that's going to be buying for them at the deadline if they're close instead of selling. So why not? If they were that good last year and they're a better team this year that invested in their blue line, we think Connor Ingram's going to be better. Why can't they be a playoff team?
You're right. I don't see anything wrong with Utah making the playoffs there. We have gone through everything. Adam, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for hanging out. Adam, if you are not following Adam, imagine not. We won't tell on you, but at Pucking Thoughts. Adam, you also, obviously we host Total Hockey Now together with our third pairing, but you also have a hobby that a lot of people enjoy. You pull cards.
Yes, Rip and Riff, new episode will be out on Wednesday. Myself and at Mr. Jared Moore, big Devils fan, bring a few cards to the table. We try and talk about the teams or the players that come out. That's with the relevant stuff. We give our takes a couple of things and we get out of there. So, it's fun to hang out.
There you go.
Rip and Riff, baby.
At Rip and Riff, it will be in the description of this video because obviously you're watching it on YouTube. You already know where you find all my great stuff. So at FuzzyChris91 on the Apple Podcast, the Podbean, the Spotify, the whole thing. You guys know where to find it is. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Adam, I'm going to let you go back to enjoying your day. Thank you for hanging out here. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for all of you for being here. I had a blast. We will catch each other